Hello and greetings, everyone. My name is Veronica Atin, and I am from University Malaysia Sabah. And today I'll be presenting this paper, Interviewing is Getting on My Nerve, a preliminary study on language anxiety among ESL learners in UMS. And this paper is based on a research conducted by this group, which is myself, Nur Nazira Hamzah, Kuan Yin Yi, and Azimanita Lagason. Okay, so our presentation today will be based on this introduction, research methodology, findings and discussion, conclusion and recommendation, and finally acknowledgement. On to the introduction. So this study is on language anxiety on students of English for oral communication in UMS, and particularly for an assessment that they did, which is a video project of interviewing foreigners. And by saying foreigners here, we are referring to non-Malaysians who speak English. And some of them are native speakers of English as well. LA is adopted from the term foreign language anxiety, introduced by Howitz and Co., 1986, which refers to complex feelings, self-perception and behavior related to classroom learning, which arises from the uniqueness of the language learning process. And Lewis, 1973, also refers to language anxiety as unpleasant emotion experienced as dread, scare, alarm, pride, trepidation, horror, and panic. So all of this refer to the symptoms of LA. Right. Our research methodology. First, the research questions. There were two questions that guided this research, which is number one, what are the factors that cause language anxiety among the ESL learners? And number two, how different are the symptoms of language anxiety experienced by lower proficiency learners as compared to better proficiency learners while doing the interview project? Our participants were 92 ESL learners from the oral communication in English class selected through random sampling. There were actually more than a few hundreds of them, but we invited those who are interested, and 92 of them participated. And these learners had to learn basic English courses or proficiency courses due to obtaining low scores in their Malaysian University English Test MUAT. And by saying low, we are referring to band 2 and 3. And after that, 5 of these learners were selected for observation in the video project. We asked them and they agreed, and they were in a group. Okay, so as for the data elicitation, we use foreign language classroom anxiety scale survey questionnaire. This is also known as FLCAS by Howitz and Howitz. We adapted this and added one question regarding the interview project. So originally there were 33 items with Likert scale options. Number 1, strongly agree. Number 2, agree. Number 3, neutral. Number 4, disagree. And number 5, strongly disagree. And the observation using the video project involved 5 of the learners in one group while they were interviewing English-speaking foreigners or native speaker foreigners. They videotaped themselves, and it was based on a topic that they chose themselves. Okay, so this is the questionnaire. There were 33 items. This is the original questionnaire, and we added another one regarding the interview project. Right, on to our findings and discussion. We'll be discussing these based on the research questions. Research question number 1, what are the factors that cause language anxiety among the ESL learners? And in discussing this, I would like to base this on the 4 common language anxiety factors observed by Amorati and Venturi in 2021, which are number 1, instructional practices and classroom procedures. Number 2, counterproductive beliefs about language learning. Number 3, fear of errors and error correction. And number 4, underestimation of one's ability. So we will see, I will show you, based on the responses of the learners, if any of the responses fall under this category. Okay, so yeah, number 1, instructional practices and classroom procedures, as can be seen in table 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of the statements can be categorized under this factor that cause language anxiety. Statement number 3, I tremble when I know that I'm going to be called on in language class. This one, 7 of the participants tick strongly agree, and 29 of them agree. I start to panic when I have to speak without preparation in language class. A staggering 31 participants agree with this, strongly agree, and 25 agree with this. I worry about the consequences of failing my language class. This one, 17 participants strongly agree, and 38 of them agree. In the language class, I can get so nervous I forget things I know. This one, 34 participants strongly agree, 29 participants agree. Number 20, I can feel my heart pounding when I'm going to be called on in language class. And for this one, 18 participants strongly agree and 27 participants agree. And the last item in the original questionnaire, 33, I get nervous when the teacher asks questions which I haven't prepared in advance. So 21 of them strongly agreed and 32 of them agree. And the additional question that we had, I was nervous when I interviewed an English speaker during the video project. 16 of them agree and strongly agree, and 26 of them agree. So, okay, what does this implicate when learners are having language anxieties due to instructional practices and classroom procedures? It is mainly because most of the time it could be because of the teacher-centeredness of the classroom. This is according to Amorati and Venturi in 2021. So learners are feeling insecure or they're anxious when they think that the teacher is higher than them and they are going to be punished if they don't fulfill certain criteria in the language learning, or could also be due to competitive activities that create negative comparison to the learners. So these are among the things that contribute to this kind of anxiety. Okay, and the second type of anxiety, the second factor, can be categorized under counterproductive beliefs about language learning. There are 2 statements that reflect this, in which the participants chose, most of them chose 1 or 2. It frightens me when I do not understand that the teacher is what the teacher is saying in foreign language. This one, 12 of them chose 1, strongly agree, and 25 of them chose 2, agree. And item number 29, I get nervous when I don't understand every word the language teacher say. This one, 13 of the participants chose strongly agree, and 34 of them agree. So for this one, it is more on the learner's belief that they do not have the ability to understand. And this leads to what Simsek and Donia term as anxious per, which is a separate and seemingly uncontrollable anxious identity that is perceived as distinct from one's own self. So as you can see, this is very psychological. Okay, and the next category is fear of errors and error correction. And only one of the items which is item 15. I get upset when I don't understand what the teacher is correcting. Receive a strongly agree from 12 participants and agree from 28 participants, which is 30.4%. So for this one, this apprehensiveness might be due to uneasiness of the students of being judged. Yeah, so Gregerson and Howitz 2002 purport that the students who are by nature perfectionists spend more energy avoiding mistakes rather than learning the language. And the fourth category of the causes of anxiety is underestimation of one's own ability. And we can see that there are 3 statements that reflect this here. I keep thinking, statement number 7, I keep thinking that the other students are better at language than I am. This one received number 1 from 30 participants, which is 32.6, and number 2 from 37 participants, 40.2%. And statement 16, even if I am well prepared for language class, I feel anxious about it. This one is 17% of the learners selected number 1, and sorry, not 17%, 17 participants, 18.5%, and 32 participants, which is 35.9%, chose this. So it shows that quite a number of them actually feel that this is causing them some kind of anxiety. And item 23, I always feel that the other students speak the foreign language better than I do. So the foreign language here refers to English. And 35 of the students out of 92 chose 1, and 29 of them chose 2, which is quite a large percentage put together, around 70%. Yeah. So this one is interesting to note because in a way this category seems to overlap with counterproductive beliefs about language learning. And it really reflects that the learners are by nature anxious. Okay, so Amorati and Venturin noted that anxious learners have the tendency to focus on the negatives rather than the positive. Okay, so this might also have something to do with the learner's perfectionism. They wanted to be perfect, and they think that other people are always better than them. So it causes them to feel anxious when they're learning. Okay, and the second research question: how different are the symptoms of language anxiety experienced by lower proficiency learners as compared to better proficiency learners while doing the interview project? And this observation was done based on this checklist of symptoms. One is the verbal checklist: hedging, tense voice, stammering, speaking fast. And the second one is nonverbal, which is fidgeting, cannot stand or sit still, avoiding eye contact, wiping hands on clothes. So we take 3 categories of learners from the 5 of them. We give these 3 as example. One of them, the high level of language proficiency, only displayed one of the verbal anxiousness symptom, which is hedging, etc. While all of the other symptoms are not displayed at all. While the medium level of proficiency learners displays some of the symptoms, which is hedging, stammering, fidgeting, and wiping hands on clothes, 4 of them. And the lower level of proficiency learner can be seen to display almost all of these symptoms. Okay, so hedging, yes. Fidgeting, yes. Tense voice, no. Cannot stand or sit still, no. Stammering, yes. Avoiding eye contact, yes. Speaking fast, no. wiping hands on clothes, not noticeable. But what we could really see the difference between this lower level of proficiency learner between this and the higher level or the medium level is the avoiding eye contact. The lower level of proficiency learner tend to be, I don't know whether they're shy or having lack of self-confidence, but they really avoid eye contact when they were doing the interview. Okay, so what we can conclude based on this is that there are differences between the lower level and the higher level or the medium level of proficiency learners. Okay, so the conclusion and recommendation from this study, it is small scale, as we know, and it is preliminary in nature, hence the limited findings, but the results also suggest that lower proficiency ESL learners are more likely to experience serious language anxiety. And the implication is teachers might need to be prepared to assist the lower level proficiency learners before any major speaking tasks by using appropriate strategies. And we also would like to recommend that a bigger scale study will be conducted in the future, looking at other aspects such as reasons and coping strategies of learners, as well as the pedagogical activities that teachers might use to assist the learners in overcoming their language anxiety in speaking. All right, and I would like to end by giving an acknowledgement to the generous support provided by UMS through the research grant SBK 423 2018, which has been instrumental in our endeavor and contributing to the body of knowledge in this field. Thank you.